just to explain to those who don't know what YCAP is and how it works, like the process of it. So firstly, YCAP's 17 years old. It started in 17 years old. It's not a new program, it's not a fly-by-night. It's been around, it's earned its stripes. And we started it when I was working at Africa Tikkun. I was the marketing manager there, and we had to run a youth dialogue. And the youth dialogue was to get grade 10s in the room to talk about what problems they would solve in the country and how. So it was all different backgrounds, all different youth from different backgrounds coming together, and it was a beautiful day. They were so fired up, they were so excited, they came up with beautiful ideas, and then they went home and nothing happened. And then I went to my boss and I said, I don't understand what the point of that event was. Talk shops don't do anything. Can we not give them something to do to make actions happen? Can we not create an action program rather than a talk shop? And he said, go ahead, the floor is yours to go do it. So that's what happened, and that's how the whole thing came together. We had different stakeholders in the room, and all of us brainstormed how we're going to make this work, and we came across the idea of creating a 10-step plan that is values-based, putting values into action. So that is our toolkit right now is based on that, but we've expanded it and grown it as time goes on, and it's from step 1 to step 10. It explains how to form a team, how to put roles and responsibilities together, how to identify what problems there are, so the research element, and that's very good for university later on. So we start with the research element, then identifying what are the possible solutions that you could have to your problem, and then action plans, how are we going to put this into action, and then funding, how are we going to get money to do this, how are we going to work out how much money to spend in order to create money, and then how are we going to spend it and get more money. How are we going to make sure that this program is actually measured and impactful and is sustainable? And how are we going to check at the end what our progress was, personally and community-wise? So it's all about personal and community development at the same time. So that's what YCAP is about. And then we said, fine, but how are we going to get people to do this? No one wants to do extra work if there's no benefits, right? Would you go and do all that work just for nothing? I know people want to make a change, but really, there's got to be a carrot, right? So the carrot is the competition. The carrot is saying, do your best, be the best, so that you can come and you can be a district level winner. Do your best so that you can become a provincial level winner. Do your best so you can become a national participant and then maybe even win nationals, and sometimes even go international like we saw. And that is the driver. But even if you don't get there, you're still learning, you're still growing, you're still developing. So it's not about the destination, it's about the journey, right? So the whole process was about how to make young people have the skills, opportunities, and values, and a platform to showcase what they've done. So we don't want it to be from the mouths of the teachers. We want the learners themselves to say, this is what we did. And they come up and they do a 15-minute oral presentation with PowerPoint. And that's why they're so confident sitting here, why they can talk all day. Because they're used to it. They're used to coming up and talking in front of like 200 people when they're like 12 years old. And they're telling everyone about the impact they made, and they're telling them why their project is the best and why they made such a difference and how they grew as people. So that is how YCAP works. And we then added in grade 7 when we had another funder join us, and actually one of the people that was part of that organization is here. Jackie, wave to everyone. So she was working at DSV at the time. It was actually UTI, then it became DSV. And when she joined us on, she was put in charge of the CSI of the organization, and we were one of the beneficiaries. And she said, but let's do the primary schools. I think we need to bring primary schools in. And I said, great, let's do that. So when she joined, then we started the primary school element. And even now she's still supporting us years later. She's even moved on to other organizations, but she always thinks about YCAP because of the impact it made on her. So I think that's very important to note. And then also having our Department of Education there from the beginning, from day one, the Department of Education was there. We had the competition idea, remember, but we didn't know how we were going to do it because Africa Tikkun only works in 2 provinces in community centers. It's very difficult to run as a community center program without a proper structure. So we said we have to go into schools, but how are we going to do that? And then we said, let's go to the Department of Education and say to them, we've got a program, it's got a toolkit, we've got a funder. Deutsche Bank was our funder for 10 years. The foundation, South Africa Foundation, and they said, great, we're actually looking for a program. It was called the Race and Values Department then. We're looking for a program that will create social cohesion and get rid of the divides between people and create more values. Let's do it. And that's how it started. And then it became Social Cohesion Department, and people came, people left, and we remained. 17 years later, we're still there. And we are a great partnership. There's amazing collaboration between public and private and civic society, and that's, I think, the future. You know, we shouldn't all operate in silos. We should work with the system, not against it. We would never achieve what we had if we didn't have the scalability of working in the government system. You know, how do we reach all those rural schools? How do we have 500 schools join this year in all 9 provinces? It's the Department of Education that helps us to get into those schools and to tell everyone about the opportunity of joining YCAP. And now we've even been included in the curriculum. We're in the life orientation textbooks, grade 10 to 12. So we're actually in those textbooks that were launched last year. So it's not only about, you know, making change in an extramural. We actually are a co-curricular program. We fit into life orientation and EMS, economic management science, and so many other subjects. I mean, as you can hear from what I was explaining, all those steps fit into all the subjects. You're learning confidence, you're learning public speaking, you're learning critical thinking, you're learning how to prioritize, you're learning time management, conflict management. I mean, everything is learned in this program because it's experiential, and you'll never forget what you experienced, right? You can write an exam today and tomorrow you don't remember what you wrote, right? But if you did something, you remember that. You remember that. So I just wanted to thank our partners. We've got this venue. Thank you to Investec for allowing us to come here. I know that, you know, having Investec Philanthropies on board and having one of their family trusts as one of our annual funders, I mean, we have to apply every year, but having them on board for the last, I think, 5 years now has been really amazing. And also having, you know, people who are like-minded and have the same vision. I think that's a really important thing. We want partners who are seeing the same vision. You know, we don't want to have these, you know, transactional relationships. We want partnerships of people who actually are on the same journey. So also UNISA, been with us for 15 years. Eh? So 15 years they've been doing our research pro bono. Pro bono, they've been doing our research. Don't all rush at once, they're only doing our research pro bono. So they've been doing a lot of work on that and publishing articles and chapters in books on YCAP and what it's done. And they're going to present to you just now, so you'll see that these people sitting here are not the only people that have been impacted by the program. There's like thousands of learners that have gone through it and have benefited from it. So I really appreciate all our support team members. You know, like we've got our national managers, our provincial managers, our team members and our ambassadors. All of you guys are what makes YCAP happen and make sure that we are impacting everyone that we need to impact. And also I just want to explain, you know, when Rose said there's 4 learners in a team, although there's 4 learners in a team, that's not the whole impact of the program in a school. Those are the leaders of the program, and then they get everyone else involved. So, I mean, imagine if we had like 200 learners per school coming to present at an event, like it's impossible. So we have to limit it and say there's 4 learners in a team, and those are the ones that are like the spokespeople, the representatives of the team. But those are not the only learners in a school that get impacted by YCAP. So I just wanted to clarify that, because sometimes people are like focusing on the number 4 and being like, only 4 in a whole school. No, that's not the case. I'd like to close today's event by just saying that these funders and partners, some of them are in-kind donations, some of them are physical donations, some of them are still here, some of them are not. So some came for like 10 years, some came for 1 year. It's a mixture of all different organizations, but all of them have played a pivotal role in where we are today. So we thank them so much, and we'd love to fill up the sport more. So thank you everyone for being here today, and let's chat outside, and please get home safely and have an awesome weekend, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.